Hello, my name is Jules, and I am a life coach. I empower women to rise up and live courageously so that they can be creative and innovative leaders who can be world changers. This message today is titled From Victim to Overcomer. Most women I know would love to be world changers. They want to make a difference in their community. They want to be entrepreneurs and make a difference in their world. But one of the things that hinders us from really making a difference and getting past our victim mentality is something that happened in our childhood. Their statistics say about 4 out of 5 women have experienced a traumatic childhood sexual abuse when they were younger. They were molested, raped, they were exposed to pornography, and it's normally by a relative, a very close family friend, someone that we trust. But in order for us to really get past that victim mentality, we've got to overcome what happened to us. And the way we overcome is by sharing our story. But first, we have to be able to find someone that we can trust. And as you know, in the Kenyan community where we come from, speaking about your sexual past or your sexual abuse is like taboo. Many victims have not been able to tell their stories. They hold it in because guess what? The person who was the perpetrator is someone they probably still live with, a close relative, and they're holding this story inside of them and have never been able to share it with anybody. And what a way to live. Do you know what holding that secret, do you know what it does to you over the years? Here are some of the symptoms that you will go through in your life by holding on to that secret and not sharing it with somebody. PTSD, depression, substance abuse, interpersonal issues, insecurity, shame, and distress. All of these symptoms is what we take to our psychiatrist, and they get diagnosed and get treated with antidepressants. But the problem is that we've never really dug deep into that traumatic childhood experience and shared your story with somebody. When I was 15 years old, something happened to me as well, and it was a close family member. And what happened to me happened during a sleepover with cousins. And I never shared it with my parents until I was much older. And one of the things that people fear when they share their story is that someone will not believe you because you didn't share it when it happened. But I want to share with you that and assure you that when you do share your story, don't be afraid that someone won't believe you because it's been so many years after what happened. Our brains sometimes will not let us feel that pain, and we shut it down. We shut it into an area in our brains that where we protect ourselves from the flashback of what happened. And because we were so young, we didn't know how to process it. But with my clients, this is what I do. When someone calls me with their story, what I do is I offer a listening ear. Because what they really need is for someone to believe what happened. And my whole take with you sharing your story is that we create a safe space for you to come and sit and feel relaxed and begin to speak. And we almost kind of remove ourselves from that incident. We say, for example, I say, That was a 15-year-old who had no experience of what sex is, but here she is, she's sharing her story. Open up so that we can reparent you, so that we can listen to you and believe you. And then maybe educate you about what happened because you were so confused. But now we're adults. We can actually educate you on what happened and then unpack it for you so you can really understand that, first of all, it was not your fault, and you would not have known what was the intention of that person when they were engaging you in that sexual activity. So one of the things that there was two relatives in my past that exposed me to my sexuality before I could even understand what was happening. One uncle exposed me to pornography. The saving part for me was that it was just a holiday and they were not able to take that experience even further. What happens is that sometimes they expose you to pornography and get you all excited that there's a game that you can play and it's very secret, but you don't know what their intentions are. The intention is to get you excited, tell you that there's a game that they want to play, but the intention is to get you to play the game that you're seeing on the screen. And because that's a person that you trust, you say, hey, yeah, let's play this game. But at some point, something will tell you that this is not something that you are enjoying, and something will tell you this is wrong. Right deep in your gut, you will feel, this is not right. I shouldn't be doing this. And that's where your shame starts to build. And that's why you keep quiet, because it's a secret that you're not supposed to tell anybody. For me, I lived with that secret for many, many years. But what I said at some point is that I don't want to go into my 40s. I don't want to start this decade with all that baggage. I want to unpack it with somebody that I trust. So I talked to somebody that I trust, and we went step by step, and I told them exactly what happened. And then they educated me about exactly what was going on, because at that point I was not able to understand. And by me unpacking my story, we actually got to learn that that was my coming of age story. That's my first experience of my sexuality. Even though I didn't understand what was going on, that was my first experience. And then what I also got to learn is the trauma came from me being locked up in a room with this person and actually fearing that they were going to rape me. They had already taken their pants off, and then me seeing his body parts, his third leg, as I would like to call it, was traumatizing, because I was thinking, this is where I lose my virginity. This is where I get raped. I remember screaming and yelling for someone to come and rescue me. And I don't want to go into details about exactly what happened that day, but I just want you to understand that I had to share it with someone and go through all the different things that happened to me so that we can unpack it together, so that me as an adult and the person that I'm sharing with, we can talk to that 15-year-old and assure her it is not your fault. Don't be ashamed of what happened. You wouldn't have known that this is what their intention were. You didn't know that this is what their intention was. They kind of got you excited because it's something that it's a game that you enjoy. Because your body is doing things that are really exciting, and you keep going back to that place, but you are not thinking that they're actually wanting to go all the way with you. But for some people, they did go all the way with you, and you're stuck with this shame and this depression and this isolation and blaming yourself for what happened. But just know that if you don't talk to somebody about what happened, this is something that you will hold with you. At some point, it's going to start affecting your relationships if it goes untreated. Remember, all you need to do is just tell your story. If you're still living with a person, or if that person is still in your life, like if it's your father, your uncle, your older brothers, your cousins, it actually does help to tell a stranger, because they don't know your family. So they can be able to educate you about what happened, but without you fearing that you're exposing your family. All you're doing is being able to talk about what happened, someone to listen to you and believe your story. But as a Christian, if you're talking to someone who is in the church, or even you're talking to a life coach like me, we can even take it a step further for you. And we can go back to that place when what was happening to you. And then we can say, you know what? God was there. God was watching. So for you to realize that God was there and that he saw everything that was happening, it's so liberating. Because at some point you probably thought, if only God knew what happened to me, he would help me. He knows everything that happened to you, and he was there. But you may ask, why didn't he stop it? Because you know what? In this fallen world that we live in, people have what we call free will. And they make choices, bad choices, that hurt other people. But there's hope and that there's healing for you. Jesus was there. He knows exactly what you're going through. So when you sit with a trusted person, you and I, we sit and we talk about what happened. We recognize that Jesus was there, and then we watch what happens. Jesus is the one who does the healing for you. He is the one who comforts you and tells you that it's okay, it is not your fault, and that you can heal and you can overcome. You can, this is actually the one thing that happened to you that will strengthen you and make you a strong person than you ever imagined. I am the strong woman that I am today. I am the courageous woman that I am today because of the difficult things that happened to me when I was younger. And you can go from being a victim to being an overcomer. And healing is possible, but you've got to be able to speak to someone so that one, they can listen. And that's what we do. We listen. And then another thing that we can take a step further is talking about forgiving that person. It is going to be a process for you to forgive them for what they did. And that's another journey in itself. In my book, 40 Days and 40 Nights, there's several chapters that talk about forgiveness and what does that look like. And it all ties to what Christ did on the cross. The first thing is that we recognize is that there is power in the cross. There is power in what Christ did to forgive what they did. There is strength and power in what God did to forgive their sins. I see that my recording is going to be ending in very few minutes here, that my recording is going to stop. But I want you to recognize that if Christ's work on the cross was finished, there is power. Sorry about that. I was getting a warning that my recording is almost done. There's also power in what he did to heal you of any infirmity that you have. So do you want to get well? Do you want to heal? Call somebody. Call me, www.mymentor.life/Julia Muya.